Welcome back to a new video. It is time for the October reading journal update. October was a bit of an odd month for me as far as reading goes. I read a couple of longer books, so I feel like that was really nice to get that progress going, but also they took a while, and so I didn't read quite as many books as I normally do, but also I was having a rough time in October for a variety of reasons, and so a lot of the books that I did read were lighthearted and romance and nothing too deep except for those couple of longer books that I managed to read. Still, I think it was a decent reading month, and I'm quite happy with how things turned out overall. Sometimes we just have to go where the reading takes us. Sorry about that, that was a really awful pun. So I am decorating this month with some dragon wrapping paper that I got as part of my prize for the Indie Fantasy Addicts Summer Reading Challenge. The prizes were distributed in October, which is part of the reason why my books acquired list was absolutely massive. The other reason was that I had to do some events over a course of 5 days, and so I allowed myself to order a book for each day because I knew I was going to be tired and exhausted and in a generally bad mood at the end of the events, so I figured a book would make things better. And you know what? I wasn't wrong. Anyways, my books acquired list was very long. I ended up getting 17 books this month, and none of them were borrowed through Kindle Unlimited. I did have 2 library books, which is good, but most of them were purchased, which means my TBR, even though I started with 42 books and I read 12, I ended up with 43, and I only DNF'd 2, so, one of those months. I'm still making progress in my TBR, and I'm quite happy with being below 50 for once. It's been a while since it's been that low, and I'm okay with that. Just filling out my books read list for the cover page. I didn't realize until doing this voiceover that I completely forgot to write in the star rating on this list. So that's okay. They're in the reviews itself. It's fine. I do love the dragons, though. They're really cute. I wish I could find this wrapping paper. But also, I don't wrap paper or wrap gifts in anything other than brown paper because you can recycle brown paper, and you can't often recycle wrapping paper unless you do something like this in a junk journal. It's still really cool wrapping paper. Alright, on to the reviews. As usual, I am just splitting this page in half because I don't like having full spreads for my reviews. I am not that verbose when it comes to my handwritten book reviews. If you want me to write out an ARC review, I'll go for it. But the handwritten reviews, I like having a half spread. I did read 12 books this month, however I'm only doing 11 reviews because I cannot seem to find any information on the 12th book that I read. I think it's probably a newsletter exclusive book. It was a prize that I won from the SRC Summer Reading Challenge, and so I can't find it anywhere, and thus there's not much point in reviewing it. Also, I only thought it was average anyways, so regardless. Moving on. The first book that I read this month was one of those big chunky ones, and that was The Jazad Crown. I had read The Jazad Heir last month, which means that I was all caught up and familiar with the story so that I could read this book and finish the duology. And oh my, this book was very dramatic. I loved the fact that none of the characters were all good or all bad. They were just kind of a mix. And there was so much in the way of motivations for trying to do the right thing or gain personal power or have safety for people, and I thought that was really, really cool. I will say that some of the lore that was introduced in this book, especially as it concerned Sylvia, was kind of just thrown in there. Compared to last book, it didn't really make sense, and I felt like it was trying to be dramatic and magical and historical for the story, for the world, I mean, but it didn't really fit with what had been set up before. I also think this book needed to be 2 books. The series, I think, would have done better as a trilogy. You could have explored a lot more of that lore and some of the interactions that felt a little rushed, especially at the end. But duologies are en vogue right now, so that's what we got. Then again, this book is like 600 pages long, so I'm not sure I could do another 600-page book in this series. I really enjoyed this series. I thought it was very good, but it was intense. It was definitely intense. Still a 4 stars for me on that one. The next book I read was Ali Hazelwood's Hot for Slayer. This was done through an Amazon Halloween collection. They had a bunch of romance authors who wrote Halloween romance stories. Not even novellas. They're fully like novelettes, sort of a thing. It was short. It was fun. Vampire falling for Vampire Slayer. I liked it. It was entertaining. I think it was cleverly written as far as the world and the lore and the magic, or not magic, or whatever you want to call it. Do I think I need a full book from this? No, but it was lighthearted and it was fun and I enjoyed it. So, 4 stars from me. As you're reading these reviews, if you happen to read the text written on the page, sometimes it does contain spoilers. My voiceover will never contain spoilers, so if you don't want to know what happened or be spoiled in a book, then I would recommend not reading what I write. And yes, I realize I write sideways. I physically can't write straight up and down without hurting considerably and also being a very messy writer, so sideways it is. The next book I read was The Mortal Blade by Christopher Mitchell. This was a book for my Dragonforged readers group over on Facebook. I am admin with myself and a couple of other awesome ladies who write dragon books, and the whole group is focused on reading dragon books, and mostly indie. Occasionally we'll talk about trad books like Aragon, but not often. So this month we were featuring The Mortal Blade as our kind of book club read. I did not enjoy this one so much. It is book 1 of like a 39 book series. Well, I say series, but I think I mean world. It's one world, and there are so many books within this world and different arcs and kind of following different characters, and there's a lot going on. And though this is book 1, you kind of get thrown right into the middle of things, which I did not love. Mostly, though, I just didn't love the characters. The hero that we're supposed to be rooting for is a drunk, and he's kind of an ass. The other heroine that we're supposed to be rooting for is... she's quote-unquote not like other girls, and I find her very annoying. Also, there's a bunch of other characters that they just, you do one thing, then okay, that's nice, good for you. And then 2 pages later, it's, what the heck was that? That's reprehensible. So I didn't love it. Not a great book for me. The next book I read was another Ali Hazelwood book, Mate. I didn't intend to read Halloween books this month. I'm not really a spooky season person. This book just happened to come out and I had pre-ordered it, so it arrived and I read it. and it was entertaining. I remember very little of the details from Bride. I remember the characters and the romance, but the world, not so much. I didn't feel like I was needing a reread, though, when I started this book. It became very clear very quickly what had happened, and it was, I guess, easy to fall into this world. I thought it was a very entertaining book. I liked the idea of a cult. I liked the situation with the illness that our main character had, and how she was trying not to interact with her mate and kind of deal with things on her own. And I really liked how their romance progressed and their interactions and whatnot. The bit later in the book with how the relationship with them kind of physically culminates, I did not love. I didn't love that. I don't love that sort of a situation, but I know a lot of people do. I am asexual, so it is not really my thing when that's kind of a big part of the relationship and how the relationship forms and that sort of a thing. Still, I liked the book. I thought it was entertaining. I will say that I am perfectly okay with reading the Alia Hazelwood formulas. I love the characters. I love how she writes them, and I don't really care if the basic plot is the same. Plus or minus vampires and werewolves. I will still read all these books. She's one of my favorite romance authors, so I find them entertaining, and frankly, that's all that matters. The next book I read was an ARC review for The Wrath of Order by Glenn Dahlgren. This is the second arc in his world, the Order of Chaos. Absolutely, you do need to read the first arc before you can dive into the second arc, because the characters are the same. It's just time has passed and they're figuring out new problems with this new world order. I always like his books. I think they're very well written. They are very accessible for people of all ages, and I think they're very clever. The plot doesn't feel predictable at all in ways that a lot of stories feel predictable these days, where you can say, oh, this character's going to do that and this character's going to do that. No, it felt very interesting and clever, and there were lots of twists and turns. It was not illogical. Sometimes you see people trying to throw twists in there that just don't make sense. No, this absolutely makes sense, and yet it was very different and very clever, and I love it. I will say that some of the character deaths in this book affected me rather more than I expected. I will accept retribution from the author in future books, and he is fully aware of this. I told him that he needs to pay for what he has done to some of these characters, because they were my favorites. So sad. Anyways, moving on. The next book I read was another one of those big, long books. This also happened to be one of those books that I ordered during that 5-day book buying spree. This was Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I had seen this kind of everywhere on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot, and the premise sounded interesting, and I wanted a nice, solid romantasy, so that's what I got. And you know what? It was a nice, solid romantasy. I really thought the way that the relationship between the characters was set up was very interesting. I think political marriages are a fascinating concept. I don't necessarily agree with them. I think that marriages should have, at least respect, and you should at least know the person that you're going to marry. But regardless, as a plot device, I think that political marriages are very interesting, and I like the way that this one unfolded and how it was unexpected and yet made sense. I think the way that the character Odessa was introduced to her husband's world and his people, I think that was really interesting. I loved the magic and how things were kind of unfolding throughout the story. I will say I don't love the deception that happened there. That's a fairly big issue for me, but I do appreciate that there was a sincere and heartfelt apology and that wrongdoing was acknowledged. I like that. It doesn't completely excuse the deception, but it does make it more palatable. A solid book, very entertaining, and I loved the ending. I thought that was great. So a solid 4.25 from me. The next book is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. I was not actually expecting to read this month, but my library hold came through, and when your library hold comes through, you say, yes please. It's a cute story. I like romances where the characters are already married and they're kind of just trying to rekindle things. Not where one side has obviously done wrong to the other, but they've grown from where they were, and they're trying to figure out who they are now and how their relationship fits together, and they still love each other, but there are some bumps in the road, and they're figuring it out, and I love that. I think that is an absolutely great second chance romance concept, and I wish there were more of them. I think this one was very nicely done. I loved the mix of, in the past, how their relationship kind of started and developed, and in the present, which is where they were, and how they are as adults. I think that the difference between them, young and adult, was really good. Sometimes you see the characters where there's not so much in the way of growth, but I think this one did very well. I also appreciated that they were a couple that didn't want kids. You don't really see that a lot in romance novels these days. I mean, some, certainly, but often kids are a big part of it, which is perfectly fine. Kids are great, just not for everyone. Still, I really enjoyed this book and absolutely would read it again. I may have to add it to my buy for physical copy list, which frankly is already ridiculously long. I don't need to buy more books. This is why we have libraries. But also I want to be able to reread it and have it on my shelf. So, dilemma. The next book was one that I had pre-ordered and totally forgot about until it showed up on my doorstep. It happens. It really does, more than I would care to admit. This book was The Princess Knight by Kate Jacobs, and it was really entertaining. I mean, it's basically a Legally Blonde reimagining with princesses and going to a military academy instead of Harvard Law. I loved that the main character was not so covertly autistic. I think that was absolutely fantastic. And I love her growth throughout the book. A lot of times they say that the character grows, but the voice at the end of the book and the voice at the beginning of the book kind of sound the same. This one, I think the voice was very much, yes, this is the same character, but they are distinctly different and they have grown, and I appreciate that so much. There were a few things that I think could have been expanded upon or explored a little better, like letting the characters reflect on the situation instead of just having them react to the situation. There's a difference, and I think that would have been nice, but you know what? I love this story enough that I don't really care about that, and I will happily reread it again and again. Definitely a 5-star read from me. The next book I read was Once Smitten, Twice Shy by Chloe Leese. This was another library hold that came through unexpectedly. I should maybe pay more attention to my library holds, but you know what? Whatever. I really like Chloe Leese books because of her disability and neurodiverse representation. However, for some of her books, not all, but some, I have a hard time because there's just not a lot in the way of plot. The characters kind of get together and then they're happy, and that's it. And that's great. I absolutely love a happy ending, especially with the representation there, but I often want a little more plot, and I think this book did pretty well at that. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, just because of those previous issues with plot, but I think this book did pretty well. I loved the characters. I think that the main character, the male hero, or guy whose name I cannot remember because it's been 3 weeks already since I read this book, I really liked him. I thought he was really cute and very sweet and full of green flags. I thought he was great, and I loved the hypermobility representation. Yay, Ehlers-Danlos, although this was technically hypermobile spectrum disorder. Or, no, it was connective tissue disorder. Mixed connective tissue disease. There are a lot of them out there, all those connective tissue issues. Yeah, I liked his representation. I thought it was very entertaining. It was a cute book, and I enjoyed it. The next book was Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. This was actually a reread because book 3 is coming out in November, and I had just gotten book 2, and I didn't remember the characters at all from book 1, so I needed to go back and reread, and I am so glad I did. I love this series so much. It's kind of like if you took The Mummy and added a bit more research and set it in Mesoamerica. It's great. I love it. Adventure and romance and intelligent characters. Yeah, great trifecta. Book 2 was my next read, Tomb of the Sun King, and this one was not a reread. I had just recently acquired it, and I loved it just as much as the first one. We got some new point of view characters, which I think were really well done. This author does an exceptional job at maintaining a character's distinct voice and maintaining it throughout the entire story. Because sometimes if you have multiple point of view characters, it kind of blends together who's talking, but no, this book, excellent. Very well done. I love that. And I also love the research. I love the fact that, you know what, linguistics and ancient languages and talking about phonemes and pronouns, I love it. All of that was in there. It was great. Very entertaining. I'm so excited for book 3, which I think comes out at the end of November, middle of November. Something in there. Very entertaining. I have no idea if this series is a trilogy or if it's meant to be longer than that, but we shall find out, I suppose. So that was what I read for October, minus that one that I didn't review. And now I'm just going to go through it and fill out the yearly stats stuff. Read 6 ebooks and 6 physical books. Thank you, Book Buying Spree. When I go on a book buying spree, I tend to buy physical books. And then just filling in my 200 book challenge. I probably won't finish 200 books this year, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I think it'll be just fine. I didn't add any more of those awkward letters to my A to Z title challenge, and Tomb of the Sun King was probably my standout book for the month, although it was a very close tie with The Princess Knight, which is why I don't really love doing the book bracket, but, you know, whatever. Filling out book bingo, and then that's the end of my stats for the month, so let's go have a flip through and see what October looks like. I think a decent selection of books this month, a lot more in the lighthearted, romantic categories than otherwise, but I am perfectly okay with that. It was necessary this month. Look at that. It is getting chunky. Now, I have told you before that I don't necessarily intend to keep a self-made reading journal, so I bought this one, and we're going to do a sneak peek of this pre-printed reading journal that I'll be using for 2026, because you gotta love a sneak peek. This is put out by the Book Sisters. I found them on TikTok. They are a small business, and I love this reading journal. I think it is absolutely adorable and has all the pages and stats that I could possibly want. And it comes with a sticker. I love a good sticker, especially a vinyl sticker. Actually, it has more stickers. This is a sticker sheet that you can use in the journal itself. Various genres and notations on arc or whatnot. So, absolutely lovely. It starts with an About Me section, which is always fun. You can kind of say what goals you have, what kind of genres you like, that sort of a thing. Very nice. Always useful. A bookshelf to color in, which actually has 200 books, which is perfect. Just what I need. This is keeping track of releases in case I want to go out and buy them, and I love how each section has a little tab so you can easily flip through and get to that section right away. I don't keep a to-be-read list in my reading journal. I have a separate list for that, but it's nice that it's there all the same. I think it also has 200 books. The reading tracker, just a quick title and author and star rating, 200 slots again. Very nice, 25 per page. You can keep track of 5-star reads, did not finish. Hopefully I won't fill that page at all. Series trackers, duologies, trilogies, longer series, that sort of a thing. I think it's very useful because turns out I have started a few series that I need to finish and haven't done. Whoops. Anyways. More series trackers. They expect you to read a lot of series, which they're not wrong, so very useful. Pre-orders, also useful because I do this and then forget about it, as mentioned with the Princess Knight. Arc tracking, which is good because I need to do that, make sure I keep track of everything I'm reading. Book mail, I probably won't use this page quite as much, but it's nice to have if you like keeping track of that sort of thing. Author backlist, very useful if you find a new favorite author that you want to keep track of and read all of their stuff, which has been known to happen. Trope trackers, things you love to follow. Fan family is one of my favorites. Just saying. Book club pages, also very useful, although I'm kind of in between on my book club, so it gives you 2 spreads, 12 pages, or 12 boxes each. Coloring in 200 books, a year in pixels, if you want to track like formats, what you read on different days, that sort of a thing. Genre trackers, do you read nonfiction, fantasy, romance, whatever. A yearly reading stats thing, which I really like, that you can keep track of library versus purchase versus whatever. Some book challenges, they have pre-filled book challenges, a book bracket, some other fun things based on covers or A to Z challenge or prompts that they have pre-filled out for you. You do not have to do any book challenge if you do not want to. I think they're fun. Do I follow them specifically? No, but if I read something and it happens to fit, great. They also give you a blank one if you want to do one yourself, which is always useful. A couple of coloring pages, because who doesn't love a coloring page? And then we are into the monthly trackers, and this just goes through what you read, TBR, what you managed to complete during the week of whatever the date is, that sort of a thing. So it's basically a weekly spread, which is nice. And then reading log, reading stats, that sort of a thing. And it goes through for the whole month, all the way through December, and then you get into the review spreads. And there are, I believe, 200 of these. I think this is perfect. It's just enough space for me, and I can add a little bit of decoration if I want to without having to go overboard. So, absolutely wonderful pre-printed journal. I'm very excited to get stuck into it. It's got even a little pocket in the back, which is fun. Do you prefer a pre-printed reading journal, or are you the sort to make it yourself? If you are, I'm very impressed. I tried it. It's entertaining, but I think I prefer the pre-printed reading journal. And frankly, this one is absolutely stunning. I hope you have a great day and happy reading.